Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Identity Insights by Indicio. Indicio recently released our public benefit report for 2022, and today I'm joined by Indicio's VP of Governance and author of the document, Trevor Butterworth. So he's here to discuss it with us. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today, Trevor. If you could you please start us off with a quick explanation of what this report is all about?
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. So a public benefit report is a document that public benefit corporations have to produce each year and which addresses their public benefit mission. And the public benefit mission is what distinguishes a public benefit corporation from a regular kind of corporation. So a clear example of that would be Patagonia or Kickstarter. Each of those have made their goals public benefit goals, broadly speaking.
All right, awesome. And why did Indicio decide to become a public benefit company?
Well, good question. So we started out with the goal of our founding mission was to advance decentralized identity. Now, decentralized identity, as you know, but maybe all our viewers don't, provides that missing verification layer to the internet. So it allows for digital data to be verified. And it allows for information to be shared in tamper-proof and verifiable ways. These ways also allow a person's privacy to be preserved in ways that current systems don't allow. And on top of all of that, it provides a massive security enhancement to the whole personal identity information and other sorts of data. So there's a security, a privacy, and a verification. They're the three big benefits. And we saw these as making a big material. The goal of a public benefit corporation is to make a positive material benefit to society. So we saw these three aspects of decentralized identity as having a big impact on the public in beneficial ways. So the goal of incorporating as a public benefit corporation and having these as a public benefit mission means that any shareholders must be on board with that mission, right? It's all about public benefit corporations, which are growing throughout the US and across the world, are all about aligning shareholders with stakeholders and manifesting public goods in the way they do business. So a large feature of public benefit corporations is addressing the environment. We're, decentralized identity is kind of new. So we decided to kind of plant a flag and say, yes, this is a public benefit, and we're going to stick to the mission of advancing decentralized identity in a way that delivers public benefit.
All right. So how does that decision, play into Indicio's actual business strategy, right? Are there any metrics that you can point to that kind of, show this?
So one of the requirements, so you have to, when you state your public benefit mission, you have to produce some metrics by which it can be measured. And when we created our founding charter, we made a whole list of stipulations, which we include in the public benefit report, and we explain how we have met them. And I would say principle, the kind of key decisions or the key metrics or the key factors that influence how we do business are promotion of open source code, which is a key way for this technology to be adopted by the maximum number of people. A second metric was interoperability. This technology works best for everyone when it's able to interoperate with everything. We talk about decentralized identity and verifiable credentials being used within ecosystems. So we know that these credentials will have maximal value when they can interoperate across different ecosystems. So that's why we've made, pursuing interoperability, both in terms of developing the requisite software, but also in adhering to certain open standards, and also really working with the open standards and open source community to advance interoperability. So that's a really, that's a key aspect. Those are two key aspects. And you could imagine that in a different situation, you would have shareholders saying, well, to maximize profit, we should, release proprietary technology so as to, try and make as much money as possible. So our public benefit mission requires us to pursue open source, and whatever the future of Indicio, that is part of the mission, and that is how we hold ourselves accountable under public benefit corporation law. A third critical aspect of what we're doing was creating the Indicio network, right? Organizations, companies needed a robust, professionally run, decentralized identity network to run solutions. So we made creating, well, actually, that was one of the first real public benefit achievements, was creating that network and making it low cost to use, and making, actually many aspects of it are free to use if you're a developer. So, that's another way in which we're advancing decentralized identity. So this is what's needed. This is what we built, and this is how we're running it.
So you mentioned shareholders, right? And obviously, usually most businesses, they want to increase in value. How does that play with a public benefit corporation? Is Indicio super upfront with the shareholders? It's like, hey, it's more about the public benefit than pure profit right now. How does that work with those?
So we're still obligated to make a profit, right? We're a for-profit corporation, but we see our way of running a business, making a profit, as also being aligned with delivering a public benefit. And shareholders are if they invest in Indicio, they can see those achievements, see what we're committed to, and if they like what they see, they can join up. But it gives what public benefit corporation law does is it gives the CEO and the C-suite and the directors of the business a lot of leeway in order to pursue that, the mission. We saw our business mission as being inseparable from delivering a public benefit, so it was an easy decision for us. But for instance, one of the things that we're potentially looking at in the future, is sort of an area to improve on, is how do we fulfill one of the key aspects of the public benefit corporation movement is how do we promote environmental sustainability? Well, a lot of people think that if you're running a distributed ledger, you're running a distributed ledger with proof of work. That requires proof of work, as in ledgers that support cryptocurrencies. Well, that's not the case with ledgers for identity. In fact, a write to a ledger may use only as much energy as a web search. So we really see it as important to provide supporting materials, to encourage people to use distributed ledgers with the understanding that they are not engaging in something that wouldn't accord with their environmental values, so part of that, achieving that goal, is education, is perhaps doing a study that is able to provide objective evidence of low energy consumption. It may be working with an outside group to create measures that, to create a kind of objective measures that people can rely on for assessing the environmental sustainability of this technology. So they're all potential things that we would, that are to be considered as we go forward.
What's next for Indicio, right? Are you going to be the one writing the 2023 report? And if you could, are there maybe, 3 metrics that you think will feature pretty heavily in the next report that we're going to be, these are our goals, this is what we really want to work on?
Sure. Yes, I'm almost certainly, knock on the wood of my desk, will be writing the next report. I think we have, we've stated some specific goals in the benefit report. One of these is that we want to expand and deepen our educational activities around this technology. There's still a lot of mystery around decentralized identity and verifiable credentials, and we need to, we've done a tremendous job. I think we have. I think most of us within the company would say we have, with developing training and training materials. And we've done these terrific seminars and webinars with the Hyperledger Foundation. But a large part of that audience was somewhat in the know. We have a lot of education, again, because we see all of this as having a tremendous public benefit. We also have to do a lot of public education. And I think that's one of the areas that we're going to be measuring ourselves against next year. I already mentioned, that the open source development. I think, so many Indicio team members are, leading or a part of the major open standards and open source groups. They're doing a tremendous amount of work there. So I think you'll see a lot of that focus on interoperability. We want to expand the geographic diversity of the Indicio network node operator consortium. So that's our umbrella group of node operators who run the network. We want to continue to build a diverse workforce, we want to continue to build a diverse workforce and to provide resources to existing employees to take on leadership roles. That's actually one of the things that we kind of focused on this year. And I think it's been really great for our employees. And I think we want to do a lot more of that. And I think also, finally, the other thing is, because we have so many leadership roles in these open standards and open source groups, we want to really encourage meaningful diversity and inclusion, so that leadership roles are taken on by more and more people. And we have the open source and open standards communities that are broader, expansive, and welcoming, and provide lots of opportunities for people to get involved. So I think that would be, those are the kind of, if we say 5 things that we've kind of put markers down on. And but we don't know what the year will bring. So don't be too hard on me if things slightly change next year. But if it's anything like the past year, I'm sure there'll be a lot to talk about.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like that is about our time. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the content, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. We'll continue to bring you some more news and interesting info around the decentralized identity community, as well as what Indicio has been up to. Thank you again, Trevor. If people want to learn a little bit more about the report, or maybe read it themselves, or just what Indicio's public benefit mission is, where would you suggest they look?
They should look at the public benefit report, which is currently advertised on the homepage.